for me.
The finest, what the finest what?
The
Drug,
finest art.
tea, oh, art.
I'm
Okay,
a
okay,
I'm a collector.
of art. Are you a maker of art?
Not lately.
That lady. Okay.
Not lately. Well, I'm writing lately. I'm having
Oh,
fun
that's
with
hard.
writing.
That's hard.
So I guess that counts as art.
What kind
I'm
of
not talking
writing?
about our newsletter. I don't know what that is.
That is art. That's science and art at the same time. It's really art and science. Well, is there science? Feel like science. No, it's not science at all. Sorry, it's mostly art.
Well, yes, it's mostly just like Kira's been alone in the house a little bit too long and is just going for it and getting weird. So
Using emojis, bad jokes.
yes, yes.
What are you writing these days aside from newsletters?
Well, I'm just writing story, like short essay kind of things.
You mean tweets?
And I no, actually I did write some tweets, but they were all, I'm just playing with different formats and stuff and
Hmm.
trying to do different things. So I wrote a breakup letter to coffee.
It's it's great. I think, right?
You get
Yeah.
betrayed. You get betrayed. So come on.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I know I'm writing about coffee in my journal. That's something, but a breakup later. Huh.
Breakup letter.
What did you said? A couple of things.
I mean, it's
It's
very
not me, it's
descriptive.
you.
It's like, no, it's like I thought this was so great, but it turns out it's not. This relationship. It's unhealthy. It's not cool. So I like describe the whole every single step of the coffee making process in like great detail. And then basically have a panic attack at the end because I'm like full of caffeine and freaking out. So like just
Okay.
stuff like that. I was like, that would be funny. So I'm trying to think of stuff that's weird and would be funny, and then
Yeah.
just going for it. So
Will you,
it's kind of fun.
post it to yourself? Put a stamp and send it to yourself, and a couple of days later, I don't know, or
Maybe it's the weirdest thing. I just get out notes on my iPad
mm.
and I just write it on my iPad for some reason. It's like my leisure thing.
Keyboard or pen?
None. Just on the keyboard on the
Oh,
iPad.
okay, got it.
Yeah, it's really ergonomic.
Yeah, absolutely. When I started using iPad a lot more to type, I bought an iPad Pro, the big one. Feel like I'm having a TV with me, because I wanted the keyboard to feel the same as the laptop keyboard, the classic keyboard, to be quicker and faster, and it was good.
Yeah.
It was kind of good. It was just too big, and now with the Magic Keyboard of Apple, it's just magical. It's great, but I'm kind of fast in an iPad, and I went into a rabbit hole in Pinterest everywhere to find out how I can buy a touch keyboard so I can customize it.
Oh, so it's like really.
A
Oh,
Star Trek kind of thing, just glass.
yeah.
I want to try that. I'm pretty sure it's
Did you find
bad.
anything?
Oh yeah, I found a couple of things, but I don't have the budget for that. It's way too much.
Are they fancy?
Oh, way too much. And sometimes just for PCs, not for Apple's computer. So whatever. I wanted to try that, and I want to try it. The laser thing that it's projecting something on, a table, and you can just slam your table. I wanted to try that. I don't know why. I know it's a widget. It's not useful. I know that, but I want to use it. I want to try what it is.
Well, that's the thing. We're supposed to try. We're supposed to try new things, right? Isn't that our kind of part of the job?
We need a budget at PNP for that, to buy just gimme stuff.
Yeah, we do.
Gimmicks.
Yeah, just weird weird stuff, gimmicks.
Like painting with real fur that you can brush.
Exactly. That's what I've got in my house now.
So now you have to vacuum your paintings. That's interesting.
Yeah, and brush. You know, as you go. Yeah. I
A
do have to vacuum
massage.
my paintings. I was like, just like fixing bits, and I was like, oh, this is fun. But on the movie Get 'Em to the Greek, there's this scene, and they're at this party, and they smoke this joint, and it has every single drug in it or something. Anyways, the guy's freaking out, and he's like, "Don't worry, just rub the fuzzy wall." And then he's like, "The fuzzy wall?" He's like, "Yeah." So then he goes over and he just starts doing this and to a fuzzy wall that's in somebody's house. And it calms him right down. And ever since I saw that, I'm like, some kind of fuzzy component on the wall. That's
Well,
good. It's a good idea.
we
I
don't
like
touch
it.
our walls that often. That's true. It could be some, yeah, it could be
Yeah.
a tactile experience. Touch your wall,
Yeah.
everybody, you know? Feel your
Yes.
house. Be one with your house. You know, try to feel the wall. Don't break the walls, just feel it. Be part of it.
Just feel the wall. Yeah. It's like,
I don't
and
know
I've
what
been
you're
like,
saying.
oh, I got to get these sound panels in the office, but maybe actually I just need faux fur. Just put on the whole wall. And
Well,
they'll
that's what we
decorate.
did with cars, you know, a couple of decades ago. Furs on cars, and yeah,
Fur on cars.
you know,
And it worked
in
out
cars,
great.
in cars, not on.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I mean in cars, you know, on the dashboard and all. Yeah.
Yes, the 70s. Is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Shag.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Anyway,
it's a cool vibe.
talking about walls, let's talk about tables. Ooh. So we have a
Ooh,
problem of the week today. It was 2 years ago, but I find that on UX StackExchange, but I think would be a fun little thing that we can work together on this. So let's take a look at it and see what it is. So correct column order of comparison data table. So it's interesting because I feel like the problem is not a question, it's something else. Most of the time, the question is not a question. Yeah, that's profound. Yeah.
It is.
So, sorry. So, correct column order. What do you mean exactly? But if you read it, I
Yeah.
need to design a table where the user will have to approve new values. So, feel you have to approve
Approve new
something.
values.
Exactly. The
Okay.
table will show two old values, the difference between them, between the old and the new. Percentage represent the difference, blah, 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 blah. And they can see suspicious percentage difference and check the amount. So we're asking a human to do some work here and to, you know, use the brain to see if there's a problem here. So it's a table.
Okay.
They're using a table, but feel like they need to scan two comparable values and find out if, feel right. That's pretty much that.
And then so they need, so correct column order. Okay, that's a column order. What's a column order? Old and new. Yeah. Okay, so it's really like a flagging exercise, maybe.
It's a flagging exercise, but I think what you're asking is how we can scan things efficiently and say, okay, if there's a problem, now I'll scan it. I'm not sure the problem is how to flag it is,
It's the, yeah. New value. Okay, cool. So we don't know, we don't know. Yeah. So let's try the problem.
But whatever it is, whatever the next task is, let's focus on there's two values and their list of values, not just one row, but multiple rows of, values with old and new. And we want to, see if there's a problem. And of course, when you have, values that are, data values, you think about data tables. yeah, the extent will be, okay,
Right.
I'll put that in the tables. And because you're comparable, it's always left and right. Well, it's better to compare stuff left and right, by the way. I hate when people are comparing things from top and bottom. It's not how humans work. We compare left to right. Looking at left, looking right, we can go. We never say this one or this one. We say this one or this one. Good.
This one or this one?
This one.
Oh, ow.
You or me, Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want dessert or I want to, so so left and sorry. So left and right, a user, I want to flag something, or the problem is to look if there's any weird thing. I'm not sure the next step is important here. So how do you say that?
Okay. Yeah. So user, I think I need to visually scan.
No, this is a how. I would say, I don't want to say no. I want to see any suspicious. Wow, how do you say that? Suspicious percentage difference. I need to see if there's any suspicious percentage difference when I'm as a user. That's
so that I can
scan
take action.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So that I can take in a generic way, so that I can take action. As a person looking at a friggin' table, that's all we know about them. Well, as some kind of like sophisticated user, I guess, like it'd be a knowledgeable user on a table with fur. Wow, we've gone off the rails. There's some kind of like that. They're a user that's familiar with the data set, and the suspected kind of variation within that data set, right? Like they're an educated user or a knowledgeable user about that kind of information.
Okay, so
yeah, sure.
The role is maybe a reviewer that is sophisticated about. But I mean, what's the adjective we can add on a user here? You said.
Oh wow, this does not. We can't actually be in the same thing at the same time in the way that we can in other things. We got some overrides happening.
You have the wheel.
All good. Like, sorry, I'm just gonna rewrite what was in here so that I can take action. That was it. That was all that we had.
I would just say, as a reviewer of something, I don't know what it is, of a list of
data?
Of data, but a numerical data, meaning, maybe?
Yeah, sure. You could say numerical, yeah.
I need to...
I've always wanted that word to be numerical. I'm like, it should be numerical.
Oh, yeah. I would love that. I need to see, but it's not exactly see. I need to spot. Quickly spot. Or something like that.
I think spot is a great word there, actually. I think that gets across what you're trying to convey, or like what you're trying to get at. Because spotting is always like, if you can spot it, it's like it's always happening fast. So
yeah, exactly. As a reviewer of numerical data, I need to spot any suspicious percentage difference so I can take action. Great. I think it's a problem.
Cool. Yeah, I think that works. I think that's a defined problem.
Let's work on the problem then. Let's do an as is.
Because sure.
Oh, you're
working. As is, and some rationale.
Yeah.
We'll kind of pop down some of that.
We're always, using tables, and the tool to do tables is whimsical. That's something.
Yes, of course.
Okay, what does it look like? Okay, so new value, old value 1, old value 2. Ah, interesting. So new value, wow, old value number 1, old value number 2. Let's remove this and this 3 columns. So let's say is, what was the example? Let's see, 20, 10, 5. Okay, I see. 20,
Yeah.
10.
So 20 and then 10 and then plus. I'll put in the plus percentages.
Okay, good. Let's add other rows at the same time. So rows.
I don't think we have to, do we?
I don't know.
Or maybe that would help.
Well, the goal is to spot, so, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, so
what do we see? What do we see here in the as is? The first one thing that strikes me is that the percentage difference is a key number in this mix, right? Like the percentage of difference is here for a reason.
And right now, both have the same weight.
Well, they have different font, like visual hierarchy on it. They've bolded. Looks like they've done
But
just
between the
100%
and 300%, maybe if I want to spot something, 300% is something that I want to look a little bit, I mean, there's a big gap between 100% and 300%. For me, it's the same kind of weight right now, So the difference is, okay, I don't know what I'm saying right now.
Yeah. I think maybe what you're getting at is like we see there's some like differentiation of the percent difference, but we're curious about it.
Yeah.
There's something interesting there. I think they want to specifically ask about column order, which I think is pretty relevant to this problem, because you're like you're looking across time, kind of, and across, you're looking across time.
Yeah,
so I would kind of flag maybe relevant. How does this?
That's something we have to think about. Even a weak question.
Yeah.
I
would also kind of ask, or pose a question, or just question the visualizing this information this way.
Oh.
I don't know. Like, is or are values in a list the best way to visualize this info? And I don't actually, I'm not even editorializing there. Like, I really don't know, actually. We're starting this off, but I'd want to pose that because I know that visualizing the difference between things when we're doing data stuff is a huge part of it. And often we have data visualization that will do some of this work for us. So that makes me curious about that.
Other thing for me, it's two things. Is there's a need to show the old values and maybe just the differences? I'm not sure. Do we have to show the values? If we see differences, maybe we want to investigate a little bit more about what are the values. That's one thing I just want to question. And there's something about it's like an history of the value. So, do I need a full history? Do I need the most recent history? Do I need an average of what happened, you know, in the past?
Yeah, that's a great question because we have done many data dashboard designs, and one theme that has come up really consistently has been that like it's just data for data's sake.
Mm,
So the mission that we usually are applying is like, how do we kind of add this an idea of a baseline to this? So
mm,
whether that's like average over time, if you have historical data, or if it's like a target that you have, like how do you just put it in context with something else so that you can make a little bit of a determination? Like that's something that you see in dashboards that people do a whoopsie do on all the time. So
good point.
um,
And maybe this is what you need to understand, not the actual value by itself. You want to spot if the new value compared to the baseline is all over the place.
I mean, it could.
Could, I don't know.
It's really interesting because I think it makes a difference if, or does this make a difference? Am I going crazy? Um, but I was gonna say, like, there's a difference between like maybe manually updating some values versus values coming in and flagging them.
Mm. Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, do you think there's a different, like, it feels like there should be, there's a difference there because one would, I don't know, imply something's wrong with the system. One thing would imply there's something wrong with what the user input
Oh, not sure I'm following
or
that.
the logic around it. Oh no, I'm going crazy.
Well, you just
Um,
bought a painting with fear.
I did. I can't be
um,
stopped.
it's okay. It's okay. No, we need that. Yeah, I need to see this painting. Anyway, so and it's blurry at the same time. It's fun. Furry and blurry,
Yeah.
like our mind right now. Okay, so
Exactly.
so the baseline. That's interesting. But you said between the difference between editing this stuff and flagging this stuff. And so if you would edit this, you kind of maybe need the history or need, a little bit more information about, what happened, yesterday or the day before, or something like that. And so maybe we need all of this.
Yeah.
But now we're just flagging something. So do we need to know all the pedigree
Yeah.
of a value to flag something? Because flagging is not absolute, meaning flagging could be let's investigate, let's figure it out. It's
Yeah.
not it's wrong. It's we'll maybe have a next step and then figure out that it's all good. We're just flagging something.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a really good point. Like I'm trying to think of other or I'm trying to think of some concrete cases for something like this. One that occurs to me is around um, in like a scientific lab, for example, they would they would want to potentially want to scan a few of these values to do like a QC or quality control
Mm,
flag to them. But it's not actually possible to automate it because there's so many variables to consider.
mm,
Um, like, oh, the quality was, low to begin with and it ran really fast. I don't know, like all of these different things. So the interpretation, like people are doing this interpretation and then flagging it for further investigation. So it's like, so in that moment, they just want to do the quick thing of
mm.
like, like spotting. And then the deep work comes at the next step or for someone else to do. Um,
I would see a use case also. I experienced a use case where the someone bought a lot of things. They were a distributor of some kind, and they were looking at all the transaction for one client and why they bought so much. What this sudden the sudden
Hmm.
order. And you want to flag, maybe because you want to flag, so the the buyer who's attached to this client could just look around, make sure that's okay, that's not a mistake, or maybe a fraud, or maybe it's the end of the month and you need to
Yeah.
spend all the budget. So there's maybe something that someone else will take a look at, but someone job in finance need to say, this is weird. It's maybe okay. We love money. Yeah, sure. Just make sure that
Hmm.
whatever. So there's a couple of use
Hmm.
cases like that. I see it as flagging isn't the definitive answer. It's it's a task in the process. So do I need to
Yeah.
understand everything or unload this analysis to another task? Feel like it, because the goal is to quickly spot if there's a problem. Um, so that's why baseline is interesting. Showing too many, too much stuff is a problem. You don't need that much noise. So maybe because you'll need in the future all value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Who knows? So we have to stop that right now. Um,
Yeah. So what do you think in terms of the order? Like, do you think that new value then old old going back in time? Do you think it makes sense?
no, because like any kind of bill or when we're reading, there's a beginning and the end. We're looking at the end of it, and the end is on the right. And you have all the history of it. Then 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 equals 2. It's like a menu at a restaurant. You have the description and you have the total on your right. You also, well, in all everything it's on the right, and you confirm and you click OK. And yeah, that's I would switch it new value at the end. But now the question is it easy to scan? Could be, could be. What do you think about the order?
I think that the order is weird
Yeah.
because I've I've done like timeline interfaces before,
Hmm.
and these dashboards. The x-axis on a graph goes this way from earlier to later. Time goes forward in the right direction. Um, so that's something I think we could probably assume that the order is kind of weird
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now. Um, yeah.
And what about also displaying everything, even the normal baseline? Why?
I think, well, as a user of Google Analytics, um, they show the raw numbers and the percentages, and whenever there's like not the percentages are not there, um, I'm like, huh?
Hmm.
Like it really helps. So I know, like from at least from my own experience, that that's really nice to have that. Um, but it does feel a little bit. Well, here's a question. Um, what's really difficult about this is it's not comparing one to another. It's comparing one to another to another. So the percentage difference is between is something you have to interpret, I think. Because the percentage difference that's shown here is that 100% it's 100% different from the new value. And then value number 2 is that 300% different from value 2, or is it 300% different from the new value?
So you're doing mental calculation right now. You're doing
To
stuff in your head,
confirm,
and that I
yeah.
think we have to remove that out of the human head, because there's a machine that do calculation way better than us. I feel like So that's why I'm saying values. I'm not even on. I don't understand why we should show the value. Maybe the percentage, right? Maybe a visual of some kind to understand that there's something weird happening. It's not constant. The value, it's weird.
Yeah,
And even I don't understand if the task is to spot any problem. You just have a list of potential problems and you figure out what is not a problem, what is a real problem. Right now I feel like I'm displaying pretty much everything. You have to decide what's a problem. But things like that can be automated and someone can say, I feel like all of this, or I can switch mode to normal and propose problems or things like that and say, okay, are they something you should flag or you could flag? And so the task changed completely. That's a problem. I don't want to go too far with that. But if you have a list of
yeah.
potential problems, now you're investigating. Now you maybe need to show the values because you have to go one by one, very be analytical about it. But showing everything and spot the problem when it's mostly numerical, why? I'm not sure. By the way, you know where I'm going with that? Show me where you think it's a problem, I'll tell you. Why should I spend, my time on looking at everything? Less and less valuable in our world. I don't know where I'm going with that. What do you think? I'm maybe going crazy here. It's my turn.
No, I don't think you're going crazy. Yeah, I'm just trying to think about it.
The goal of a human is not to make all the decisions. Is sooner than later we'll just approve what a machine does, a robot does, and make sure that it's okay. We talked about ChatGPT, for example, where they're tagging kind of answer that they want the robot to respond. They are not, looking at all
Yeah.
the answers, looking at them. They say, just a couple of them. This is the kind of answer I want, and go out there, and they will maybe use, the wisdom of crowd to say, no, this is not right. And so a human will, bring their lens, their smarter lens. So if you're showing me just maybe the problematic problem, or the problems, now my job is a little bit different. Now I need to investigate, and now maybe at a table is better. And now you maybe have to show everything, and put the value on your right, and you're done. You don't have to. We don't have to overthink it. It's a problem if the flagging is immersed in the ordinary.
Yeah, and I think the part of this, I think what really ties in with baseline of how people are situated. This is the thing. And I was just starting to think, about the ways in which we will typically solve this. We in a data visual parsing kind of scenario. Like, so I was saying there's like an average that we can put in potentially. We do we also would do thresholds. So sometimes the system will define a threshold that's like typical for that industry or typical for you, or you know what I mean, and you'll flag things that go beyond the threshold, the ideal threshold that you have. And then there's I don't know, like AI stuff. That's kind of what I
I
would.
don't. It's not AI stuff, but basically, is someone is doing math, and math is a machine that will do math. Just don't need AI here. You don't even need machine learning. Just math. So the average for this is kind of weird, skewed.
It's kind of skewed. I think that's the picture for the thumbnail. Yeah, like But I mean, if AI was telling you, for this row, I've never seen a percentage difference to
Oh,
this degree between one and the other.
hmm.
That's kind of what I was thinking, like that sort of stuff. Um,
Oh, that's
but yeah,
interesting.
let's put just math,
Um,
like actual kind of historical data.
so what I'm trying to do here is um, all good. You had a layer of abstraction where this is your average, feel all good. So you have help here, and this is
Little
oops,
status indicator.
something like that. Yeah, put oops.
Oops. For everyone in the audience, oops
Oh,
is spelled in French OUPS, which I think
huh.
is really cool. You should keep it. Don't change it.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Um, yeah, it's cool.
Okay. So we feel that we agree that the order would be, the last new thing is on the right. I feel like it is. And the genesis, the origin, whatever it is on your left. So that's one. Now we're going over, out of scope with, helping you flag stuff better. Um,
Hmm.
and now I'm not sure if I want to see good or not good. Maybe we can have, a toggle where show me just, all and oops and alerts, maybe something like that, and show me just oops and, switch between that. I don't know.
Well, I think though the original data is going to be also important here. Like, there was a reason why they had the three, right? Um, I would assume there's reason. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. Do you need it at first glance? I'm not sure. You need it when
yeah,
you spot something. So that's why we can expand maybe a row, have a row that you can expand and look at something, a table inside a table in this row or something like that.
yeah.
Or you
You could
click on.
even,
What-
yeah, I've seen cases too where you do like, now this would be like interesting to explore a little bit more in terms of a pattern, actually. Um, but you do. I have seen cases where they're using brackets um, to
Um,
show the old data. Just
I see where you're going with here.
so that would be a viewing option that you have, like just layer it on. Um, but I think so. We're probably in like overall. I think we agree that the approach that we want to take would be progressive disclosure of information and like an interpretation layer, or like an interpretation um, layer and or scanning optimization, right? But we're like, yeah, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay,
And no. Our question is how we, do the progressive disclosure of information. And now we can talk about different components to do that. And this is where we can play with, a data table and have a richer data table, more interactive data table, or going, to the classic way of, okay, I want to click on it. I have a model. Let me show you something, very precise, a more complete picture about something. So that's where maybe we could talk a little bit more. What do you think?
yeah, totally. Yeah. I think that's great. So I think like here we want to like start with a bit less showing.
Hmm.
That's like our first goal, right? So, um, so what's the average values that you're putting in here? Is this
I,
the average difference?
I'm trying to have a snapshot of the past without showing value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. I'm saying average, but it is it because maybe it's just from the latest input or whatever.
Yeah. So I just gotta try.
Oh, don't be sorry to try.
I can't. I just can't. My brain just can't get around this idea of like, what is this about? What is this thing about, man? I just cannot compute at all. Okay, so the ID of the thing, number 125, 126, whatever. The new, values. I would have to say, what do I want to try here?
Wow. Continue on doing something.
Row review. This is the row review screen. That's what I'm calling it. Gotta put some context on there. Oh, thanks, Benoît. Let's cross-link. Values. Okay, yes. And then I'm thinking of difference, and then I have diff. Excuse me.
I cannot delete the content of a cell. Why? Why?
You can. It might just be a little buggy bug right now.
Okay.
Sometimes like sessions kind of get old, and
let's do that. And I feel like not action, but something else we could do about it.
Yeah.
Review, view, history, whatever it is. What could we have here? Is not view, but well, we can say flag. That's for sure. Oh, wow. Flag. Yeah. But there's something else we could do. Flag would be at the end of it. The last thing. Last or first thing? I'm not even sure now. Not even sure.
Flag. Yeah, because I'm not sure if it's just click, click, click the good ones, or if it's just flag the bad ones. Excuse me.
Bless you.
So let's also, I think, so you were kind of suggesting some filters up here. We could also look at just quick ways to expand the table. I wonder if we could do it in...
My question now is not expand. I'm not sure expand anymore, because I want to look at one idea, one value or one row. I'm looking at one, and so get rid of everything else. I kind of love models sometimes when you say, oh, there's a problem here. Show me everything. Yeah. And this new model will have a label by its own, and I will not be confused with the header of the current table, and I can have a big list of the complete history of it, because it's one thing I want to look at. I'm not comparing 2-3 rows, I think, right?
Well, that's the question. We don't know, actually. Sure. So we have to make an assumption. Yeah, we don't actually know if it's relevant, if like 124 and 125 are related, and the context of the entire table is key for me to understand if 124 is weird. So, but let's assume, yeah. I think it's safe to assume like we want to deep dive into some values potentially. I think that's okay. And we could do that. So we could do that. There's a pattern with tables where you can like expand the row and make it.
I would love that. if I like them when it's notes, text, images, things like that. But when it's
Okay.
a
Yeah, that's
table in a
true.
table,
Yeah.
I'm less comfortable because we can have the scope creep and say, okay, now I need 7 rows because you're giving me the whole history, so give me
Yeah.
everything now.
Yeah. And it passes the threshold of like what should be a viewing thing, right? Like you're like, this is a details page, so stop it with that. Right?
Exactly.
Um,
So
yeah, fair
I would
enough.
see, another table. Not this one. Let's use another one. Whatever it is, a table of everything. And so we can talk about it, but I don't care. Give me everything you have. The idea, why you think it's good, and oops or alert, and give me the actual value. Give me the difference between the average. So I would repeat the same thing and then have the list. So the integration layer, and then a table of everything,
Yeah.
and all of the same action. Flag this now. Flag it, and I'll do the stuff around. Done.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Date.
I'm really love geeking on that. Are we normal?
No.
I know it's not a consumer product. I know it's just tables and it's just vague data somewhere, but I love it.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I know. It's like the data architecturing some data or, information design, I guess. Um,
It's fun. It's really fun.
it is.
Uh, so value now, I would say value number 1, value number 2.
Oh,
You
but
see?
I'm
Oh, you're adding the.
but I'm doing them as a date stamp. So it's like entry
Oh,
1, 2, 3.
but
Yeah.
okay. Sorry, you're right.
So maybe I should do maybe like entry 1, 2, 3, blah blah blah.
Oh, maybe,
That might
yeah.
be helpful. Can we, if you've done oh, how'd you do that? Oh, Benoît, you genius. Okay, let me get out of there. I'm out of there. You go.
Good, good, good. And we don't. Do we need the different? We don't. Okay.
Okay, I'm just about to get really wild right now.
Ooh, not like
Really
buying
crazy.
blurry painting with fur. Okay.
Exactly. So, I'm gonna make up a new pattern
Mm-hmm.
completely.
Mm-hmm.
This is the pencil and paper TM uh,
Bing.
thing. So I'm curious about. This is like really weird, maybe. Um, Representing the diff between things a little
Mm-hmm.
bit more visually.
Mm-hmm.
So I did one here, one. This one is 4. Maybe this is really crazy, but 51 minus 16. What is that? 50 minus 16 would be 34. So 33. 33. Sure. I'm not going to overthink that one by double checking it in my head. Um, I was just wondering about something like this because it's like it's the diff between these two, and like
Mm-hmm.
indicating what difference it is between. Um, this I totally make it made up, but I have never seen it before because probably no dev ever wants to implement this. But I don't know. Anyways, we can toss that. Um, 1, 1, 1, 4, 33. So then we have a diff here, and then maybe there's some data around the top that says like what the average is. But I think no. Okay, question for you. Do you think this interpretation of the robot is relevant for this details page?
I think so
Would you
because
want to do that?
that's why I put it there. Tell me why you said this. Give me a little.
Yes. Okay. Yep. Okay, I'm going to put the robot in. Robot.
Oh no, I would think no, it could be something on top.
Okay.
It's why
Ah,
the total of everything is, or investigate, and my assumption as a robot is that blah blah blah.
okay, cool. That's nice. Okay. So have our little robot. And then basically a little bit of more data that it just talks about
Oh, a lot
why.
more. Yeah.
A lot more. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. And then any relevant thing, like any relevant values or diffs or things like that, could also have their own styling, like red or I don't know, something like that to give you a secondary idea of flagging. Potential flag. There are things that had been flagged before, like this row 125 has been flagged before. So maybe you'd have a little history in there or just a little bit more information, right? So this is basically our details view. That. Okay, so that's cool. What about actually, so we would want to kind of have this option for details view because you got to be deep diving. I think we do still want, we'd want to be able to expand the columns to just see more data, I think, within the table because we don't necessarily know if we need to preserve that whole table context or not. So
I see this as a personal preference, maybe for some people. So I would see this as a facet on the left where you can select, what columns you want to display, maybe, or facet of what. Or no, just maybe a drop down with checked columns, checked on unchecked columns.
yeah, we could just be like, or we could even just say expand all too. It could be like a, I mean, I love a good super detailed like thing. Like
but in the drop down, you can say, select
control.
all. Having a simple drop down with all a check, a super drop down check, you can select them all, and that's it. That could be something very easy to do. Viewing options. So all the viewing options could be whatever it is. It could be on the drop down. It could be on the side. Nav could be here. I don't know too much about the context. If it's a mobile version or if it's a desktop or if they already have, place to filter this table. So if they do, I would imagine we can enrich it.
Yeah. So they're, whatever we want that to be, add remove columns. You can just put columns. I'll just put it for short form for columns right now. And so you can have control. So you can do that adjustment. So if they did expand the columns, I would assume what we're suggesting is we go like older to newer. That's how it would work because that's what we were saying. So we'd want to kind of adjust. We'd need to work out this table so that it's intuitive given all these other things that are in it. But the overall idea would be older to newer.
Well,
is that?
There's a difference. I'm not showing any progression right now. right? Like we had before, value 1, 2, 3, and 4.
No, we're not.
It's changed now. It changed from the first thing is what I have to look for if there's a problem or not, and then what's the value, and then investigate. So we changed the the role of this data table. It's not an historical type of row now.
Yeah.
So the first thing is what's
I
important
would,
for you. I don't know.
yeah, this comes up actually a lot, and I think like one really great tool for this is using spark lines in your data.
Spark lines. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, because one thing that we were talking about was like, yeah, it doesn't are just like values beside each other really awesome, or do they help? Like, do they help you? Oh, this is a good example. Let me just grab this and put it in. Do they help you like visually scan? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell easier with something visual, or can you tell easier with data? So for this example here, you see these little students, and you can see, how they're trending. Like Noah is just grade 5 was just the worst, not good, not doing great. But you could tell all of that with this little spark line, and you wouldn't even need to see any of this data.
Absolutely.
So then,
Absolutely.
so it's a really good short form for what maybe you want to look at.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So
Exactly. We're giving right now a lot a difference, average difference that we can replace with the spark line. We could just
oh
replace it
yeah,
with spark. Yeah.
I think, yeah, I agree. Let's do that. Let me see what I can find for something cute. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
You want to remove this column, maybe?
No,
Oh,
keep what you got.
yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
oh, oh my God! What the hell?
Oh,
What happened, Benoit?
okay, we're good. Okay, we're back.
Okay. Holy frick. Okay.
I'm not touching anything. I forgot
For
to
we
to
got.
to to share the screen for a while. Oh, come on. Uh,
Oh
oh,
no.
oh yeah.
And you know what? I can't confirm it on my end because I can't see it even
My
when it's
bad.
shared.
We could play
So,
the time machine for a while just for fun. It would be fun. Can we use the time machine for the summary? That would be too much, maybe. I don't know.
that'll be hard, I think. Um so yeah, so then we have like our trend or our spark line going. We got our value, current new value or current value. Oh, sorry. I'm not going to say current value. Okay. We'll just fill that in our heads for now. We've got our trend, we've got our diff.
That's good. That's good.
Kind of good. Yeah. Like I know what I kind of want to look at a bit more. I could expand my columns and like get more of a detailed view. Can look more deeply. You can flag. We didn't actually do what the table would be if it was expanded, but our assumption would be that we do it in a timeline sort of thing, and maybe
Yeah.
do a visual differentiation of the newest value. You know what I mean? Somehow.
I think it's good. I think we went way further than the question that was just about the order of column. But yeah.
Yep.
Can I do a quick something? There's nobody watching, so I just want to do a time machine. Don't touch anything, just for fun. Just two. I want to play that.
there is. We do have someone watching. Hi, Guillermo.
Hey, hi, Guillaume.
Guillermo.
We're just reviewing what we did. Oh, we can fork it in. That's
Yeah, you
interesting.
can.
Have you ever forked it?
I have, yeah. I actually have. But well, usually I've gotten no, I have done it. I was thinking usually I get scared.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just will grab it and then put it somewhere. But I've actually done it where I've forked it as well. I had a situation. Well, Benoit, remember when we had that huge wireframes file,
Mm-hmm.
and then I moved something,
Mm-hmm.
and then it broke everything.
Oh, I remember. You forked it. Yeah, it was useful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was in trouble that day.
Well,
That's for
whimsical
sure.
humor, I guess. What about
You
closing
can,
this?
yeah.
Let's do the summary together. Well, let's do summary. Play with that. Hi.
Super.
You met you guys with a table post on the blog. Wow.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Hello to Brazil. How
So
you doing? That's great.
you're right on time, Guillaume. We'll summarize what we did in the last hour. In fact,
Yes.
here.
Yes, we will.
You ready?
Super.
It's up to you now.
I'm ready. I was I was born ready. Thank you. Okay. So we met another friend on UX StackExchange who's working through a comparison use case and trying to figure out what do you do. So their problem was around the column order. That's what they were asking about is, hey, how do you do the column order so that it's intuitive? And for a use case where people are approving new values and doing some comparison of old ones to new ones. So the table shows the old ones as well as the new ones all together. And so our first step was to define the problem. As per usual, we did it in the format as a blah, I need to blah so I can blah. So for our case, we did as a reviewer of numerical data, because that's all we know about the use case, I need to spot any suspicious percentage difference so that I can take action. So this is really, the word spot is really key to this problem because that implies how quick it needs to be. It needs to be almost without thinking. So when we looked at the as is, we thought about that with the rationale of like, how do we want to approach this problem in the first place? So some of the major themes that we were considering, this idea of percentage difference, it must be here for a reason. So what is that telling us? The differentiation of the percentage, like we were feeling really curious about that. We were wondering about if the order really ties in with time. So we talked about this idea that we have in a lot of interfaces and a lot of visualizations where time is moving from left to right. And so in this case, we have it moving from the other direction. So we also questioned, are values in a list the best way to visualize this information? Because being able to parse a difference is tough. Like it's actually really hard to do. And when you have really dense information, it's super challenging, even if you're a data analyst. We thought a lot about the baseline of how people get situated with data. We see a lot of dashboards where that's an issue and people are just seeing data out of context, and that's really hard to work with for our brains. So we thought about averages and thresholds. We thought about the role that AI can play. We thought about, just doing math based on historical data. These are all ways that we can situate people in a baseline. And we talked about flagging processes, especially in enterprise software, where it's not really, you're not necessarily getting a definitive answer and you're stating this is weird. You're just maybe doing something that's part of another process. It's sent to somebody else. So that's some of our rationale as we went into this problem. So our attempts our general approach to solving this problem, what we wanted to do is basically have progressive disclosure of information. So, really consider how to disclose this information in a manageable way and add an interpretation layer and like scanning optimization. So, this thing in the problem of spot the suspicious thing, that is really key to having a good solution for this. So we started off. Benoit got us fired up by thinking about a super minimal table view that we could think about. So introducing the idea of status within this table could be a really nice way to give people a baseline and point them to things that maybe should be flagged. So that was kind of prompted us into kind of working out our iteration a little bit more. So we created this table here where for every item in the row, so we just assigned IDs for sanity's sake, we have this idea of status. We have the new value being shown, the diff. The key thing that we introduced here was spark lines. So spark lines are little tiny data visualization that helps you just kind of eyeball like what's been going on with this particular row. So we introduced that idea of spark lines, and also just having a little bit less showing by default. So that's what you see here in this kind of default state. We allow columns to be added and removed, and the viewing to be modified in the way that the user will see fit. So that was a key part of things. We also allowed, in our solution, we also let you dive into the details and really scan kind of the full data set if you want. So we have this details view here for ID 125 and this table here where we have entries. They're marked by a date, and then they have the value as well as the diff and any history that's already gone into this row, in addition to the interpretation layer that we have this robot telling you some stuff. So we don't know what all of that stuff would be, but basically we just let people dive in and see all the details. So that's you would use this kind of details view, especially in the case where you don't need to do a bunch of comparison between row 125 and 126 and 127. You actually just need to go into this 125 row and investigate a little bit more. So that's what we came up with. So then the next steps, what we would do is like actually test this. We learn what software this applies to, get a little context and ask some users because, hey, they're pretty cool.
Right? They're pretty cool. I love it. Oh, what happened when two designers enter a bar? They order a table. That's what we did.
We did. And then maybe we'd come in there and we wouldn't order drinks. We'd order pizza and other things that they don't have, just like we've done here.
Thank you for this, Kira. That was lovely. And again, if you have a problem, contact us. Subscribe to our newsletter. You'll receive, maybe a breakdown of this problem and more. We have courses, we have templates, we have a lot of tools available, and we have another week next week. So subscribe and like this, and you'll be in touch with what we're doing. So thank you again, Kira. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. See
Bye.
you later. Bye.